Okay, hello everyone. We had key number 1, which was motion picture of the mind, which is sensory images. So our chapter is basically about when you're reading, you're visualizing, so you're picturing what you're reading. It's kind of to help you bring the book to life, and basically you're creating a movie in your mind to help you picture everything that you're reading. So we'll start with what the strategy is.
So basically the strategy for sensory images is when you think of sensory, you think of the 5 senses, which is basically your sight, your touch, your taste, your smell, and also hearing. And this can also include things like feelings, emotions as well. So this is a good strategy to use because it helps students to often place themselves in the story through the use of images and smell and things like that, and it allows them to become more a part of the book, and they feel what the character feels and things like that. It also helps them think of the feelings they have and memories and different connections from their own lives that they can connect to the book, and then they can know what's happening in the story if they know what a certain smell is or what a certain taste is. And then students' emotions, the emotions they develop with the book, can help them make connections with the book, such as things that are sad or happy or just things like that could help them to connect with the character deeply. And yeah.
So I have a short video that kind of goes along with sensory images. So I'll share that. So it kind of explains imagery, because a great author is going to be using imagery when they write a book to help their readers kind of have these sensory parts.
We have 5 senses. Writers often appeal to these senses to bring their stories to the reader's imagination. For example, what sense is the author appealing to in this sentence? The author is appealing to the sense of taste. What other senses might a writer appeal to? Can you envision this moment? This is because its writer is appealing to the sense of sight. Can you hear it? This is because its writer uses words that suggest sounds. Writers also can suggest the sense of touch. Finally, writers can appeal to the sense of smell. All of these examples use imagery. Imagery appears.
So then it goes more into imagery, but we're talking more about the sensory aspect of readers. And so some examples that writers can use in their books to help their students. Were you guys able to hear the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Some examples of these sensory words that writers can use to help their readers. For touch, words that they can use include bumpy, smooth, sticky, soft. For the sense of hearing, writers can use words like squeaky, thundering, shrill, thumping. For the sense of sight, they can use misty, shiny, bright, glossy. For the sense of taste, they can use salty, bitter, spicy, and tasteless. And for the sense of smell, they can use rotten, stale, floral, and smoky. So these words are going to help readers kind of put those images in their heads.
Okay, so the strategy is very important to children because it makes the text more memorable. So it's easier to remember, and children are able to visualize more of what is going on in the story. It's vital if someone wants reading to be exciting, memorable, and fun. It creates a vivid image in the children's mind. It's an ongoing creation of sensory images that maybe makes them more hooked on books like the fiction and poetry and nonfiction books. If children fail to create sensory images while reading, they can suffer from sensory deprivation. So just making sure that they're engaged in what they're reading will really help them enjoy reading more and make them maybe want to continue to read more of what they enjoy if the images are created in their mind.
To teach the strategy, then it's important to model how to use the strategy. So it's good to use read alouds and then point out different sensory things that come up. And you can also have students create open-minded portraits of the characters. So not every student will see the character the same. So you could have them draw pictures of how they see the characters. Another one is to role play parts of the book. This really helps the students to actually see what is going on. Something else is to ask the students to close their eyes so that they can visualize the story better, so that they can get a clear picture in their mind instead of just seeing the classroom and like what they're reading. Teach it using a combination of explanations and demonstrations. So like explain what is going on and then you can use the role play. You can also create an anchor chart. So you can use a picture of all the senses and then put it on your anchor chart so that the students can always go back to it if they need to. And then provide practical examples. So it's important to give like real life examples of when you're going to use this strategy because it can help to relate to students better.
Okay,
Alright.
and for some signs that children may not be creating the images like they're supposed to be when they're reading, the child is not showing interest in reading or being read to, so there's lack of focus while they're being read to or while they're reading. They aren't able to retain and describe the information they have read or what is being read to them. There's no interest in the story, so when it starts, everything in between and the end, they don't really know what's going on. And then just going back to not being able to describe the material in the book, so like the setting, the characters, the plot, all that, they're not really able to describe to someone or write down what they're feeling or draw what they're feeling. They just really don't have that imagery in their head.
Okay, and also on our handout, we included a little graphic that is, again, just to get in your head that these sensory images use all the senses. So touch, sight, taste, hearing, and smell. It was just one graphic that you could maybe print out and put in your classroom as well to maybe reiterate that with your students over and over again. And then a couple examples for using this. Say you were reading the book Mr. Terrip to your actual classroom, to your students, you could have stop every once in a while in chapters and have them visualize what's going on. So say we are reading the snowball scene, which we just recently read. You could read that to your students and have them close their eyes and visualize what's going on. I know I was visualizing it while I was reading it. And also just make that they're doing that with other books that they're reading. So like when I was reading my book for my book talk, I was sitting there visualizing what was going on while I was reading it. So just try to reiterate that over and over again so they understand that that helps them understand the book more and comprehend it and also remember it. So are there